Hi, my name's William Dinnerman, and I'm here to talk about Major League Baseball and how it can ensure it gets the best umpires possible. So, umpiring is one of the most difficult professions to maintain a high level of excellence in. And after reading Bruce Weber's As They See Him, I have gained a new level of knowledge about the process of becoming a good umpire, but also the work that is needed to be put in to maintain a high level of professionalism. In 1965, Major League Baseball created the Umpire Development Program, or UDP, which for many years consisted of a single supervisor, a man named Barney Deary, who traveled the country observing minor league umpires and engaging their progress. Weber, page 50. Only since the 1960s have the big leagues prescribed a professional path for career oriented umpires. Before that, a guy might get into the major leagues because of some old time umpire or scout happened to be in the stands at an amateur game and liked what he saw, and a leaguer might get a shot at the big leagues because he was recommended through the grapevine to the big league supervisors, who were almost always retired big league umpires themselves. Weber, page 50 to 51. Calling balls and strikes is one of the most distinguishing factors, in my opinion, in evaluating an umpire who has a fair and consistent strike zone from game to game deserves to be promoted to the next level if he's making all or at least like 90% of the correct balls and strikes. According to Weber, the best way to position yourself to call balls and strikes is a matter of some debate in umpiredom. And if you watch minor league games, you'll see some variety, though generally the stances are variants of two fundamental styles. One is known as the scissors, in which one foot is placed well in front of the torso, the other behind. The position is often referred to as vertical, meaning your legs are in line with the path from the pitcher's mound to the plate. Weber, page 75. Uh, in my opinion, this allows for an umpire to get the most amount of calls correct throughout the game. In my personal experience, when I worked as an umpire in youth leagues, ages 10 to 12, I used that stance when I would call balls and strikes when I was behind the plate, and like that was usually the best way for me to catch and use the most efficient strike zone and the fairest one from player to player. So Weber speaks about how it's hard to maintain the same strike zone, as I was saying, from pitch to pitch, player to player, and game to game. He says he talks to current umpires about this, for example, Marty Springstead. Weber states, I had wanted to ask Springstead about how the strike zone has changed over the years, and especially about QuestTech, the system of cameras and computers that baseball has employed since 2001 to measure and evaluate umpires' play performances. Weber, page 179. I would recruit umpires that finish at the top 10% in their class at either the either the Evans or Wendelstedt schools. These umpires would then be recommended to the Professional Baseball Umpiring Corporation. Umpires that have shown a lot of promise but still are not making consistent calls or let the game overtake them would be regulated to work the lowest level, as in Signal A. These umpires would be watched closely, and if their skills improve, they would be promoted. If their skills stayed the same or got worse, they would be given a 5 game period to get back on track and then be fired by the head of umpires for that level. Umpires should really only be removed from their position if they are clearly making biased calls or if they consistently lose control over the game, as I mentioned before. I don't think an umpire should be removed for calling balls and strikes. Although it's a very good factor to evaluate an umpire, there's always the human element that's involved, and you can never be 100% correct with those type of calls. And as is true with most things, evaluating an umpire is best done by watching him at work. So, for a personal experience, on April 18th, 2014, I was watching the New York Yankees and the Tampa Bay Rays game on TV. Joe West, a veteran umpire, was behind the plate. Yankees pitcher Cesar Cabral hit his third batter of the inning, and immediately Joe West threw him out of the game. Yankees manager Joe Girardi ran out to argue the call and began an argument with West. Uh, it was obvious Cabral, didn't have control of his pitches, and West threw him out to protect the Rays hitters from further damage. But Girardi didn't like the call, especially because no one was warming up in the bullpen, so they just had to throw someone into the game. And in the next half inning, the Yankee batter was Brett Gardner, first one up, and the first pitch came in, and it was an obvious ball. as shown by Pitch Tracker and even as said by the announcers. But Joe West calls it a strike, which could be seen as retribution toward the Yankees for arguing in the previous half inning. And in my opinion, this is exactly kind of what happened, because the umpire was still disgruntled about the argument he had with the manager. So he took it out on the team, and an umpire involved in this type of situation should have to explain himself. If a pitch is that's an obvious ball is called a strike, and could face some sort of penalty from Major League Baseball. But I mean, overall, baseball umpires have a lot of black and white in their profession. Their pitch is either a ball or a strike. The runner is either safe or out, and the ball is either fair or foul. The hit is either a home run or it's not. I mean, but what umpires get paid the big bucks for is determining the gray area. So decisive decision making is a key and extremely necessary aspect of a professional umpire's job. And with the addition of replay this year, many of the controversial calls that umpires previously had to make in years prior are being able to be reviewed, which takes some of the pressure off the umpires in their everyday jobs. Thank you very much.